What's up, everybody? Another episode of Real with Omar, where we talk about real things with real people. Today's special guest is Dan Sachkowsky,
yes, sir.
Otherwise known as Big D. And there's so many jokes, we said that off camera already, but I had to bring that in here. Dan drove 2.5 hours to be here with me, and I really appreciate that. As I said before, Dan, welcome to the show.
Appreciate it.
No, man. Listen, we started talking already. Well, let's start in the beginning, all right? You were a business owner young. I know that part.
Yep.
How old?
17.
17.
Yeah.
Right out of high school?
Straight out of high school.
Okay. And then you became a contractor builder?
I was in construction for 26 years.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. Just a few months back, exited my last company.
Sold it?
Yep.
Nice. All right. So when you were a contractor, I think if I got it right, it was during the boom. So everything was moving.
Yeah.
And then you ran into some issues.
Yeah.
08, 09, the meltdown?
07, yeah.
Right. That was I was in the mortgage business, so that's exactly where I kind of started. So tell me about that. So you went from being high, right? Because just to kind of give context to people, everybody could get financing. Everybody could get a house. Money was floating, and then it stopped.
Yeah.
Right? It stopped. So you were saying, if you don't want to get too personal, then don't, but you were seeing like what monthly in terms of income? Just to give people kind of context.
2006, I think I made $680,000.
Okay.
2007, I made negative 60,000.
Oh, wow, that's a good number. That's a very exact number.
It was like literally negative 60,000.
Okay, how long did you float yourself before like things had to change? Because as an owner, you can move shit around, right? You could that's the one thing I tell about entrepreneurship. People are like, oh, I want to be an entrepreneur. Like, do you really? Because some days you up $1 million, some days you down negative 24,000, and every day you have to be the same, right? You can't be too high, too low. You got to be like, all right, we'll figure this.
You got to learn how to mess with the pendulum.
Right.
So I was young, right? So 17, started my own company and come into a high. Market's high, things are booming. Hundreds of thousands of dollars in my early, 20s, even in like 19, 20, into my early 20s, making all this money, $1 million house on 2 acres, like just living this like MTV Cribs life, cars, Escalades, everything.
At 18, 19?
By the time I was like 22.
22.
All that.
So you're killing it, right?
All that. I had my first house at 21.
Wow.
But, I think I got my first Escalade at 21.
Okay.
But by the time I was, 24 in 2006, 2 Escalades, S55 AMG, everything, bro. Just like beautiful. Right. Everyone on my block thought I was a drug dealer. Like I was as old as their kids living on my block. Because during that boom, think about it, like people were buying houses then because they were cashing out on houses they've had for 30 years. Right. Now they're buying a house that's $1 million because they're getting $600,000 for a piece of shit, right? So they're buying this big house, same mortgage, and they're moving in, and they're like, "Who's this young guy? What's he doing? You know what I mean? Why is he always home?"
Just to add to the mortgage part of that, people could buy houses with no money down back then. So you're going another way.
Doc.
Right? No doc. You were going 106 loan to value. What that means is 100% of the value of property plus closing costs. They were giving you the house. It was a Wild West, folks. Just like, that's why you just brought me back. I was like, I remember those loans that we were doing. It was fucking crazy. Yeah. All right, so you're chilling, the youngest kid on the block, mad shit.
Yeah. So what happens is all of a sudden, like I think it was like late 2006, the phone stopped ringing. Okay. Like it was ringing off the hook. Work. All of a sudden, I'm like, my workload doesn't seem to be like picking up.
Right.
Something's not right. All of 2007, it's like we're now in this crisis. Right. 2008, we have a foreclosure epidemic. I didn't make it that far.
Okay.
I couldn't move into 2007 because, dude, when you're new in business and you like walk into business and all of a sudden you just start making money, you don't know what it's like to struggle.
No.
So I think a lot of things I learned at a young age were like, and I think a lot of people who want to become entrepreneurs, they don't want to get rid of things to float themselves, right?
Okay. So they don't want to sell any assets, anything they're connected to emotionally, right?
Yeah. Oh, I built all this. I don't want to get rid of this car. I don't want to do this. Because they don't think they can get it back. So that was one of the problems. I was 24 years old. I'm like, shit, man, what am I going to do here? Then I finally had to wake up. All the books I read up to that point, get rid of it all. It's all liability.
Okay.
So I literally voluntary repoed every single car I have, every work truck I had, everything, handed it all in.
Now you're a single guy or married with children?
I was not married, but I had 2 boys.
You had a girl and two kids.
Two kids.
All right. So let me just add to that. I think, and I'll speak for myself, and you can add into what you think about that. When I was young, I was very avant-garde, and what that meant is I was very risk-takey. Because I didn't give a fuck. Right? It's just me. Now, when you have people depending on you, that pressure is different, right? If you're a man of integrity, right? Like if you don't want your kids to suffer, you don't want your girl, your wife, whatever, you're trying to shield them, right? So you're dealing with all this shit inside, but then you got to put that face on, everything's gonna be cool. Like you have no idea, right? Right? So there's that. I mean, look, I'm just talking man to man. Like
it happens now. It happens all the time.
That's a whole different thing, right? People don't understand that. They're like, oh, but you look like you were fine. I'm not going this deep, but they talk about the crisis of suicide with men. Like it's because you have to put on this facade all day, and you don't even know who you really are sometimes, right? And that's a big thing. Like I want to break that down because people, they say, oh, you always up. Like I'm not always up. When I'm down, I keep moving though. I keep walking. I'm not running. I might be taking the slower steps, but you got to keep moving forward.
Oh, there have been times where I'm like, all right, well, I got a $2 million life insurance policy.
I'm worth more dead than alive.
If I just go away, they'll all be taken care of. There's no risk, no worry. These thoughts do go through your head.
Yeah, that's the crazy part, right?
But you just know, I think going through these episodes, and doors are always opening.
Mm-hmm.
And I think a lot of people get stuck in business is because when they hit this rock bottom or they hit this like rock wall and they don't know where to go, just plow through it. You're going to get through it.
Mm-hmm.
And now throughout the years, went bankrupt again, lost everything again, but the comeback was 10 times faster.
All right. Because you already know what to do.
I still take risks like I did when I was then because I'm a risk taker. Like, listen, I'll go from 0 to $1 billion, then $1 billion to 0. Like, it is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
I think at the end of the day, once you learn the process, it's like Super Mario Brothers. Here's like, remember when you played Super Mario Brothers as a kid? Like, you'd make it like halfway to the castle. The next time you go almost at the castle. Now, every time you play, you can get to the castle.
Once you get to the castle,
that's it.
You broke it. Right.
It's the same thing in business. Once you see where the finish line is, now you know how to take it, how to pace, how to get there, and you know where your strides come in. So I've watched myself over the years, like, it doesn't matter. Take everything away from me today, I'll have it faster than I did last time, just because of the way that you're mentally prepared.
You know how to do it. Yeah.
But going through that struggle in 2006 was tough.
Especially being young.
And
did your parents have any success?
Oh, no.
No, so what I'm saying is, like, there's nobody for counsel. No, not even that. Just talk to.
Yeah.
Right? Like, my mom passed away last year, right? But to her, I was rich because where we came from, I was rich.
Yeah.
But I have friends that are much richer, right? And they face the same challenges on different scales, right? We just face the same challenges. And so it's easier to talk to an entrepreneur to get objective opinion because everybody's going through their own shit. But it's hard to speak to somebody who what you're doing is so alien that the first thing they want to tell you is get a fucking job, right? Go work for the police department. Go work for the sanitation. Like, that's why? Because secure, you get a check, get a pension. I was like, yeah, but that's not really where I see myself. And like, it's hard. And sometimes you break away. Like, I had to break away from her for a little bit and just kind of follow my path. I didn't even know what the path was, but I just knew that wasn't it, right? So instead of arguing and having that friction all the time, I just kind of went into use this metaphor, I went into the woods and figured out who I was going to be, right?
Yeah.
So, like, going back, did you have anybody to talk to at that time, or you just...
Well, let's come back to your whole getting rich thing and, like, how your mom thought you were rich.
Right.
So when I was young, I thought I was rich because I was chasing money.
Right.
But when everything was taken away from me and I was losing everything, I still had my kids.
Mm-hmm.
Now I saw what real wealth was. So at the process of a young age, and for people who don't make money, they think rich is money.
Right.
We don't realize that rich is our health, it's our family, it's the people that we do things for. So it brought me to a point where I was like, all right, so I can't be doing this for money anymore because the money will disappear and then it'll come back. Mm-hmm. So I'm rich in life. Now how do I build things on purpose and with purpose? So that's what I started doing back then. So what was your question?
No, the question was did you have anybody to speak to?
So a bunch of my friends were contractors. We're all going through the same shit.
Yeah.
So we're just like, we don't know what to do. I remember calling my good friend. He was a plumber. I'm like, hey, bro, like, it's over. You know what I mean?
Pack it up.
My buddy,
sell the copper.
My buddy owned a big masonry company, and he's like, dude, like, I don't even know what to do. I go, dude, we just got to pack it up. We got to figure it out.
Right.
And we all just kind of like leaned on each other. Some guys went through the alcohol and the drug session because that's how they coped. Me, I was like, listen, my kids got to eat. Like, I got to figure it out.
Figure something out.
What I mean?
Yeah.
So my one friend that was my plumber, he ended up going to Wall Street. Since then he's made hundreds of millions of dollars. And I think this stuff all happens to us on purpose. You know, it allows us to like kind of clear our plate and like humble us for a minute and be like, all right, listen, like you had your run, you figured it out. That wasn't the right one here. Now do it the right
Find a new
way,
one, right?
You know?
Right.
So it's like anything else. It's as you go through school, right? So like, let's say you played football. When you're like a flag football player, like your coach isn't really hard on you.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he teaches you a couple lessons. Then you go to junior Pee-wee. Then you go to Pee-wee. Then you go to high school. Then you go to college. And every single time that coach is harder and harder on you, but your degree of effort is a lot easier based on all the things you've learned on your way up.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
so no matter how hard you're thinking with the way that this is going to be hard, because you didn't have that hard approach as a flag football player, you didn't quit.
Right.
You conditioned yourself. So we do the same thing in business as long as we allow ourselves to learn from it. But then we put ourselves around, you were talking about proximity before, right? Mm-hmm. We put ourselves around the right people.
Right.
So at 24 years old, I'm hanging out with people who are in their 30s and their 40s that are super
so
successful.
you had counsel, right? You had people that were doing the things that you wanted to do, and at least you had somebody to kind of, what do you think about this, right?
But I really didn't open up to a lot of people, dude.
Really?
Yeah, because, again, 24 years old, pride, right? So like I had to put my pride in my back pocket.
Yeah.
And I didn't want nobody to know, because you're living this like lifestyle where it's like all of a sudden it's over and you're like, shit, everyone sees me as this. Now they're going to see me as this. And you start like messing with your head and having like this fucked up thought, like I'm a fuck up and this and that.
Right.
So like, I just kind of put myself in a place where I had to put my head down, go to work, and like, I'm going to clean this shit up and figure it out.
Okay.
And ended up doing that. But I couldn't talk to nobody about it except for those people, like the contractors who were all in the same realm.
So what did you end up going to do?
Funny enough, one of my buddies who was the Mason, he got involved in a network marketing company.
Okay.
He kept calling me, bro, for like weeks. He's like, yo, we're going to get rich every time the phone rings. I'm like, bro, are you doing drugs too? And he's like, no, you got to come check this out. You got to come check this out. So I go check this out. And there's a guy in front of the room making 40 G's a month, like on phone service. I'm like, makes sense.
Okay.
I'm like, I could do it. What do I got to do? Put people in front of it. Okay. So I was extremely ignorant to whatever was going on.
Right.
I just put people in front of it.
Right.
And because I didn't try to fire hose people and tell people, and I let somebody else speak the opportunity instead of me, I think I made $6,600 my first month. And then we went on to making like $30,000-$40,000 a month. And then millions of dollars over the next 5 years.
Nice. And selling phone service.
Yeah, like reselling phone service.
Okay.
During like the deregulation of phone service.
Right.
Then internet service was deregulated. All that stuff was in it. So it was like we were working with these third-party carriers, and we were able to switch people over, hooking up with cell phone service, and it was like cheaper because they were a broker or some shit.
Right. It doesn't matter.
Whatever. I tell people.
The great thing is, look, I wanted to say that because I want to say this. Like, as an entrepreneur, it doesn't fucking matter. Once you find something, you're like, I believe in this, I'm going. Right? It's really.
I always say I'll sell lipstick if it makes sense.
Right.
If I have to make money, lipstick has got a big market. I'll do it.
Right.
Whatever works.
Yeah.
It's never going to stop.
I like that. So you started doing resale phone service, and now what's the step after that?
So I did that for 5 years. We were on the Apprentice with Trump. Like great things were starting to happen in my life.
Okay, so got a lot of exposure.
A lot of exposure.
Okay.
Then I got involved in it. I left that company, went to another company, and then back around like Hurricane Sandy.
Right.
Got back in construction.
Right. Of course, makes sense.
Yeah, that's what I love. It was my passion, whatever. So at that time, I started up a company. We were doing pretty well. I bought out my competitor.
Oh wow. Okay.
I buy out my competitor. He sells me cookbooks.
Oh, okay. Wait, hold on. Cookbooks. I just want to educate our people. Cookbooks are accounting practices that don't really show what the company is making. They inflate them so that they can get a higher valuation, and they're pretending to make more money than they are.
Yeah.
Cookbooks, just definition. So no, listen. Some people are like, "Where's cookbooks?" Oh, here we go.
So there was about like $1.8 million in receivables. I just had to probably invest about $100,000 in a company. Not a big deal. Him and his wife were getting divorced. It makes sense.
Yeah, man.
I'm like, bro, my lawyer looked at it. My accountant looked at it. They went through their QuickBooks. Everything made sense.
Wow.
The day we close, all of a sudden, QuickBooks is like negative over $1 million. Wow. Because all the checks that they took during the process of us evaluating the company were not inserted as receivables.
Okay.
I mean, received, they were as receivables.
Right.
So all of a sudden I'm like, fuck, dude, like I just bought $1 million in debt.
I just paid $100,000 to owe $1 million.
Literally the day I bought
just for my people,
I'm
just
like,
to understand it.
Fuck.
Yeah.
So all right, let me figure this out. Like, there's nothing I can do at this point because now I own it. So I tried to keep it alive for like the next 2 years. I just couldn't do it. There was too much debt in this company. And I was focusing so much on this company. My company, I had to kind of like put to the side and just focus on this. And dude, like as you just dig a hole deeper and deeper and deeper, you know, the walls just start to collapse.
Yeah, and it becomes almost like, what do they call that? The gambler's perspective. Like, I got one. You're playing desperate. You're playing desperate. You're like, oh, I gotta turn this around, right? But you get so far down that you're never gonna get out, right?
Yeah. So that brought me to like 2016. I'm like, I call my lawyer. I'm like, yo, like I gotta close this company.
Yeah.
This thing is ripping me apart. Everything I got. So I closed the company, start a brand new company again. And then years later, bro, they try to come after me.
Who?
Like the state tries to come after me and all
Taxes
that.
and stuff like that?
No, for like these customers. Because when you got no money, no one's going to come after you. Then you start making money. Like, oh yeah, we have 10 years to sue this guy, so we're going to make a claim.
Let's watch him.
So now I got a $3 million lawsuit years later. I'm like, oh my God. So this is things that people don't understand. We go through as entrepreneurs, we go through as business owners. Like, you know, if someone gets a $3,000 lawsuit, they're crying to everyone. Yeah. You know? Yeah. I was like, I had a $3 million lawsuit.
I seen 6 zeros behind mine. Yeah. Listen, I got a cease and desist order 3 years ago for my company, Hudson Group, HRN. The guy, and I took it as a learning lesson. So the guy's company's name is Hudson Realty Group in Jersey. So just to throw a little real estate in there, every state is specific, meaning I'm a real estate broker in New York City. I have to get licensed in Jersey. I would have to get everything separate, right?
Correct.
All right, so I'm HRN, Hudson Group Realty Network, New York City. This guy is HRG, whatever. Hudson Realty Group issued me a cease and desist order because they saw me in the city and my logo was up. And this is where I learned about trademarks and stuff like that. So they were like, oh, you got to do this? I was like, all right, hold on, man. We settled it. We had an amicable settlement. It cost me AGs for the lawyer and stuff. But I took it as a lesson, right? Like some people be like, oh, fuck this guy. I was like, nah, yo, he was just smarter than me. He had his patent in, he had his trademark, and now I have like 18 patents because I learned about that part of the business by being almost like a victim to it. So I'm just using that as an example. Like some people are like, oh, you know, everything's a lesson if you look at it the right way.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Everything's a lesson. So a lot of people always ask themselves, like, why am I going through this?
Right.
Imagine you started asking yourself, how can I grow through this?
Like that.
And how your mindset would change. What's a valuable lesson in this? Right. Where is this taking me? Mm-hmm. Versus paralyzing yourself to like, oh, let me feel bad for myself because this happens. It's like, you know, people who pretend to have faith, right? Like they thank God when good things happen, but they don't thank God when bad things happen.
Bro, you just said something that I really want to talk about now. Let's talk about positive thinking, right? I'm a man of faith. I have my own relationship with God. But I want to talk about just positivity in general. Positivity is not saying, yo, man, I think it's going to be really good. Positivity is saying, yo, whatever happens, I'm going to make this really good.
Yeah.
And that is the difference. Well, no, because we talk to so many people, you and I both, on separate platforms, and you can kind of tell the people that are actually really struggling with it. Like, they need you to reaffirm them. Mm-hmm. I could be in a dark room by myself, and I'm going to find a way out, where somebody else will be waiting for somebody to come save them. But it's part of my fabric, right? And I don't know if it's because I come from a really humble beginning, that I was beneath the basement, you know, metaphorically speaking. I didn't come from anything. There was no, if I didn't figure this shit out, shit wasn't going to happen, so got to figure it out. Where I speak to people, and they're like, oh, you know, they're practicing this, they're practicing that. And I'm like, yo, I get it. Look, we all have bad moments.
Yeah.
But you have to believe. I can't make you believe it. There's nothing I could do for you to change you. I can feed you, but motivation is, you know, he's like that friend that shows up once in a while. I was like, it's your belief and your discipline and moving forward every day.
Yeah.
The small things every day, they compound to. So I want to talk. I think you're the right guy to talk to about this, because I believe this whole generation is looking for motivation. And my response to you is look in the mirror. Who do you want to be?
Yep.
Right? And then that, once you define that, you will take the necessary steps to become that if you believe in yourself. And I think that's truly what's missing.
So you could imagine, I get DMs like people are like, oh, you're so motivated. You motivate me.
Yes.
I correct them right then and there. I go, I don't motivate you. I said, I may inspire you. And if I do so, that's my whole goal.
Right.
But motivation is from within. We cannot be motivated by other things. I can't make you get out of bed in the morning. I can't make you brush your teeth. I can't make you dream. I can show you something that can open up the pathway to the way you think, but I can't make it happen. So you're totally right. Like, you have to look in the mirror, because the only way you're ever going to be motivated to do anything is by talking yourself into it and believing you can achieve it.
Belief. Yeah.
So I talked about it before we got on camera here, and we talked about the childlike mentality.
Right.
When you're a fucking kid, bro, if you want something, you're getting it. No question. You want a bike, you want an ice cream cone, you want something, you want a toy in the store, and your mom's pushing you around in a cart, and she says no. By the end of that route, you've got that toy because she's put it in your hand. Yeah. So you shut the fuck up and she can get through the store.
Because you're absolutely fucking relentless.
Relentless.
yeah, relentless pursuit. Yeah.
So that's why, like, even all my stuff that I have on social media is like relentless execution. Like, if you go after it, you will get it. But first, you have to believe you're going to get it. Once you say, like, I'm going to try, you're not going to.
You already disqualified yourself.
You already disqualified yourself.
Yeah.
So
I'm with
don't even show up.
Yeah.
So you have to be the one to know that wherever that place is in your life that you want to be, vision yourself there. Do you deserve to be there? You have to believe that you deserve to be there. And then it's just very freaking weird how you just show up there one day.
Yeah.
You know, all the shit that happens in your life, you're like, I imagined this one day.
Yeah.
Well, about this one day.
Add to that, you may not be the version of the person you have to be to get that right now.
Right.
But as long as you know you have to make some tweaking, and you're willing to work it, you can get there, right? Well, but that's the part. That's what everybody missing, that part. Like, yo, I just want to be there. Yo, I want to drive a car like that. I want to own buildings. Well, bro, I bought my first house at 28 years old. I wasn't a kid. I was older with my mom, and then 10 years later, I bought, like, it takes time. Guys that I put on in the beginning of my career put me on later into my biggest investments. Like, they're like, yo, oh, remember this? Yo, let's do this shit. And I'm like, yo, you sure? He's like, yo, I was like, I've told the story before. One of my best friends was an appraiser, Asian kid. I told him, yo, bro, I was getting into the real estate game in 2012. I said, bro, you make $800 in appraisal, man. These guys make 30, 40,000. You need to get your license, man. It's 250 hours. We went to NYU. I was like, yo, bro, this is bullshit. Like, get in there.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, you think so? I was like, yeah, I think so. Gets his license. Oh, he passes his test. He's like, yo, I got the license here on my desk. I was like, bro, fucking send it in. Like, this is a real conversation. He sends it in. I was like, all right, man, now let everybody know you're a real estate agent. Tell him. He's at family dinner. He tells me the story. I have to share it. He's like, yo, so I'm like, I'm at the dinner with the family, my brother-in-law, my sister, like my mom. I'm like, hey, guys, I'm going to become a real estate agent. So if you guys need anything or your friends need anything, let me know. Brother-in-law right there. Matter of fact, yo, we're looking. He's like, great. So he gets out his pen and paper right there at dinner. He's like, yo, so how much of a mortgage do you look? What's your purchase price? He's like $1 million. He goes, okay. He goes, what kind of financing are you going to need? Like, yeah, I coach him, right? He's like, he knows the questions. He goes, no, cash. He goes, oh, this motherfucker's rich, right? So he closes the deal in 3 weeks. Wow. First deal, like, because he didn't believe, and I believe. So fast forward 10 more years. I had bought my house in Westchester. My mother had gotten sick. I was going through some shit. He calls me up. We were representing this guy on a purchase of a 21 unit. And not to give too much information on the client, but whatever. He ends up, we're in contract for 1.6. The appraisal comes back at $2 million. The guy's like, yo, I can't do the deal. So the property cash flows, you're making $400,000 at closing on paper. So he goes, yo, we got to do it. I was like, bro, I just bought the house. He was like, yo, me, you, like, I'm not going to name everybody. 4 of us. He's like, we all each put 175. Let's do it. Let's do it. I'll fucking do the loan. I don't care. I was like, is proximity. I'm like, yo, I got 50s today. So give me a little time. I'll get you the rest of the money. He was like, done. So I send the wire. I wire the money. This is a conversation, this is really like an intimate conversation between really good friends. So like, when we have that relationship, like, all right, I'm going to wire it. I wired the money. And I was like, yo, like, send me the appraisal. I don't even know what the fuck I'm buying. He thought that, he goes, you don't need that, but he sends it to me. Anyway, but it just goes back to like how I was pushing him in the beginning.
He started pushing you.
Right. And that's the way it works, right? Because now he believes. Now he's managing about 190 units in Mass, 40 units in New York, and they own a significant portfolio, right? And we've done the deal, we've done that deal, we've done a few other deals, just like kind of that, just be on the strength of each other. And that's why I believe in good people, right? But
I literally just had a vision. I remember I have two bullies. One's like 100 pounds, the other one's like 80. I remember
those are big dogs, guys. Just
as you're talking about, what you did with your friend and then what he did for you. I remember the tug of war syndrome with my two dogs. My 70, 80 pound dog was ripping across the house, tug of war on a piece of rope, this other dog. Now my other dog is a year younger, but 5 years old. And that dog pulls the other dog across the house, right?
Okay.
But then there's some days where the other dog will come back. So it's like there was that point where you're just dragging him. But now he's grown up and he's became this strong puppy. He's not a puppy anymore. Now he's ready to go. And now he's pulling you. So I just literally just thought about that as you said there. I'm like, I remember that happened with my dog.
Yeah, man, listen. And going back to what you were saying, I believe what you were talking about is we start ascending and going to different standards. Mm-hmm. Right? So in the beginning, $800 is a lot of money.
Yeah.
Then, you start evolving, $8,000 is a lot of money. Yeah. Then $80,000 a lot of money. Then $100,000, but that becomes the standard. And then if you're smart, you're talking to people, not in an egotistical way, but rather people that are also kind of on the same journey or path to kind of just feed off each other, right? Because and I say this with you especially because a lot of people come and they'll be like, they're always looking for what's my angle? What's my benefit? And sometimes it's not, sometimes my benefit is not to be seen yet, but doing the right thing is always the right thing.
Later on in life.
Yeah. Going back to my story, right? 5 years ago and he put me on, now we're somewhere else. And it wasn't because I wanted to make my real estate broker commission from him. It was just like, yo, bro, there's money here. Like, you don't see it. Mm-hmm. I'm in it. I'm seeing it every day. I need you to get in here. Why? Because I want you to make money. Not because I want you to make money for me. I want you to make money, right? And that's the way it should be approached.
Too many people think about, like you said, what's in it for me. And as soon as they evaluate it, they don't look at like, hey, like as long as we can come together and do something, regardless if I have a win. If you have a win, bro, that's awesome. Because that brings you on and sets you up for bigger wins down the road with other people. But when you're in that space where like it's always like, what would this do for me or what could this do for me? That's where you lose in life.
You kind of restricting yourself, right? You kind of like, and I say this, you're kind of creating a confinement pattern of yourself. If it's I need to know that right now. I need to win right now. Nah, man, I'll do for you. But of course, that's within limitation, right? Like you can only give so much without emptying yourself, like pouring from an empty cup. But you can't jump into every relationship. This is the way I approach it. I'd rather leave the relationship losing than being up. Like if in a business, yo, man, that's what you feel, no problem. Because at the end of the day, if I left you up better than I found you, I've done my job. And I believe it's going to work out for me. I always do because I get up every day. And I get up every day, I pursue relentless pursuit of whatever it is, right? Because it has nothing to do with you. It's all me. It's all me. And I say that to you because I want people to understand that. Like I think we have similar thought patterns when it comes to that. Yo, it's me. Like, what am I doing? Like, yo, bro, you drove 2.5 hours. You're doing 3 podcasts a day, which is dope. But I appreciate that. I appreciate everybody's time. Where some people kind of take that for granted a little bit sometimes.
It's like I got off of a onboarding call yesterday for a new coaching client, and I literally lay out for an hour and a half like everything that I'm going to do for this guy. The money to me isn't important because I'm not leading with, you're going to pay me. Like once I tell you what I'm giving you and what I'm going to do for you, you're going to pay me because I'm guaranteeing you a 3X result. I'm going to give you all my context. I'm going to give you my Rolodex. I'm literally going to hold your hand for the next 12 months and make sure that you 3 times your multiplier of whatever it needs to be. And I literally lay that all out for them. And they're just like, wow, like versus everybody else who's like, all right, you pay me $25,000 and then here's what we're going to do.
Right.
No,
they lead with the price.
Yeah, I lay it down like I find a problem. Okay, great. Well, I understand here's what I can offer, and here's how it'll go, and here's how I'll lay it out. Boom, 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 and this is what's going to happen in a sequence of the next 12 months, and blah, blah, blah. And they're just like, oh. And then when you say the price, they're like, okay, where do I send the money?
Well, because you already set up the value.
But like, yo, the world works in an opposite way, though.
Yeah. I mean, yes and no. I feel that some people. And correct me if I'm wrong, Dan. Like, I think you're the guy I talked to this about. I feel that the people that lead that way don't believe their own value. right? So they got to get justified somehow quickly. They got to get that out of the way because that's the uncomfortable part, right? When you know the value you bring, you could leave it at the end. You could not mention. I've had deals where the guys are like, yo, I got to pay you at the end. And I'm like, oh shit, my bad. Yeah, you're right. It's this. Like, because I know what I'm doing for you. I'm doing for you something that few people can do. So I'm sure of course there's people that are going to try to, get over, but they're creating that confinement for themselves, right? That's my new thing, creating confinement, because you can only do bad for so long without people hearing about it. All right. And you do good for so long, people will hear about it also. They'll want to work with you.
Think about how long you've been in business and how many employees you've went through.
Oh boy. Yeah.
So now think about
That's a sensitive topic
then. so now let's think about this. Hey, Omar, I want to get paid more. Hey, Omar, you're making all this money. Can I get more? So this is the way people frequently think, and this is the pattern. Versus being like, all right, listen, you hired me to do X, but I'm delivering X and Y, and you're like, oh, fuck, maybe I'm going to pay this person more because they're over-delivering what they're supposed to do. As an entrepreneur, what do? We over-deliver. As an employee, we under-deliver and we expect more. But this is the conditional thinking that we go throughout life, because it's like, all right, we look at what everyone else is doing, and now the world's coming to a place where work ethic is diminishing.
Yes.
Okay, so the price of living's going up, but my value can drop and I can expect more money.
I can still ask.
So as an entrepreneur, we're like, all right, fuck, the world's getting tougher. We have to figure it out. We have to do some shit. We have to move some things around, sell some things, do this, that, and another thing. And we got to really work it out. So how does that one person become the best asset of a company when they're out working what their performance is supposed to be? So most people think, oh, because I put a lot of time into something, that makes me valuable.
Well, that's the old way of thinking where people are like, I've been with you so long, I should get a raise. They're like, unless you work for fucking GE, that's not working. Like, what are you bringing to the company? How you adding?
What's the value you bring to the hour?
Yeah. How's the asset? What's the asset you're bringing? Like, I mean, I know you're physically here, but being physically here on Facebook is not really doing anything for me, right? I've had that conversation too. Like, I mean, you being on social media is not really doing it for me. You only coming to work when there's something to do. I've had this conversation too. Oh, well, there's no clients. I was like, are you cold calling? Are you doing, like, I broke it down. Nah. Well, I do that every day. And I mean, I grew my social media so much that now it's more inbound, but before social media, bro, we used to pound the phone. Yeah. You remember what it was? Like,
yellow book, everything.
Dial, hello. Yeah, and you, there's no face. You have no idea. You just got a voice, right? And you have to make something out of that.
So it's just funny, like, I've watched over the years, and what I've seen is when I've given employees opportunities to make more money, say it was a commission based on, you're making a salary plus commission, they'll start focusing on a commission. They'll stop doing their daily tasks. All right, hey, I did this, so can I get that check? Well, you forgot to do all this.
Yeah.
So now you're focusing on the top end, but not the bottom end. Like, your car is not going to work with just the top of the motor. It has to work with the bottom of the motor. And people get in this way where they try to beat the system. Like, how can I benefit the most without putting in the most?
No, with putting the least. Don't do that, Dan. I saw what you did.
So without putting in the most.
No, you're being nice. You're being nice. No. Let me help you with that. No.
Well,
how can I get the most with doing the least, bro? That's a version that will not. It's not sustainable, because when you're part of a team and you do less, that means the others do more, right? And eventually that creates friction.
But how can you get more done in 3 hours than a team member could do in 8 hours?
Because I'm focused.
Exactly.
Right?
And you've been doing it for so long.
Go back to purpose, right? I know what has to be done.
Yeah.
I know what has to be done. I know how to delegate. And listen, up to recently, I had a certain business structure. I revamped it. I was like, this is because it was costing me. I think we spoke about this like a month or two ago when we first got on the phone, where I was like, yo, man, I don't see how this is working. And then I started the human component, right? The human capital. It was just like going back to what you just said. People want to do the least possible, make the most, and have all the laurels. Like, I'm top producer. Top producer of what, bro? You haven't closed anything in a year. What are you top producing? Like, I would get off social media and get to work. That's a conversation I had to have. I was like, oh man, I'm sorry. Like, and I fight with this, like, I come from a generation of guilt, right? The guilt of like my mom was a Puerto Rican mom, so she was guilt you into everything, right? Oh, you don't love me, you don't do this. So I'm like, oh my. So anyway, then there's survivor's guilt, right? Where I'm doing better than most of my contemporaries, So you want to put your brothers on, right? You're like, when I first made my first $1 million, I was like, I want to get a team. That was my thing. I want to get a team. I want everybody to come up. But the truth is, you can't bring people up.
No shit.
Well, thank you. Because I just learned that the hard way. I'm like, yo, I just blew through $1 million and these niggas didn't do shit. Like, I'm like,
bro, 26 years, my blood brother worked with me for 26 years. And no matter how hard I wanted him to be something, he just didn't think that way. But not for nothing. And there's nothing wrong with this because he's my brother, but entitlement, you feel like you're entitled. Like, hey, I've been around since the beginning. I should get this. I should get that. I helped you do this. I helped you do that. Yeah, you helped until 5 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
Did you do everything you were supposed to do till 5? Probably not. Over the years, that workload has fucking diminished.
Mm-hmm.
On top of that, now you're expecting and feeling like you deserve more. Why? Because how can I be around somebody for 26 years, help them build this establishment, do all this stuff, and they live this way and I live this way?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I didn't fuck with drugs. I didn't, mess around with, different people. I knew how to save my money. I knew to do what I was doing. I had other investments, and we just do things differently.
Mm-hmm.
But then when you get involved and you bring like maybe a girl into your life and they go, oh, you work for your brother and, he has all this stuff and how come you don't have all this stuff?
Yeah.
Now the fucking,
wait.
Hey, can I get some PT? My brother called me. He's like, can I get some PTO? Because his new girl's got like, I don't know, fucking maybe like a month off of shit. I'm PTO. I go, it's fucking general contracting. You get a fucking sick day. You know what I mean? Like, it's PTO.
Yeah. You had to look it up. Hold on. Let me look that up.
I thought it was like a cop or something.
But the crazy part is that the thought process should be like, all right, Dan's doing this thing. What skills do I have to kind of help multiply? I don't know if you've heard, this is a military term. There's a force and there's a force multiplier,
Mm-hmm.
right? A multiplier is somebody who's super fucking good that the team around him gets better, right?
Mm-hmm.
So how do you become a force multiplier? Like that should be the like, yo, Dan's doing $1 million. How can I get us to 1.5? Because if I get us to 1.5, say, Dan, I'm like 30 G's a year more. Like what?
Yeah.
Bro, you paid for yourself, of course, right? Like, but people, they don't think that way. They think, yo, Dan got it, so Dan should get it from me. But the question also becomes, hey, are you qualified for that position? Like, I want to be CEO. All right, well, do you know how to do this? No. Yo, you get paid for what like, everybody has a position. If you're a barber, I'm just using that as a concept, why would you think you can run 3 multiple platforms at with burn rates of $50,000 a month? You're like, there's a lot to it, bro, and and you need a temperament and you need a certain type of threshold to deal with those stresses. It's not regular. Like a lot of people think, oh, it's no big deal. You always like throw money in there. Like when things go bad is when you really have to lock in and like triage, right? In the hospital, like you really have to figure this shit out quickly, or you could lose your company, right? It's I don't make it sound that ominous, but it really is true. When it's just you. It's just you. There's no, well, I'm going to call the mothership to send me another $1 million line of credit to hold it. Nah, bro, is whatever we're doing is what we're doing. So I'm using that example you gave me of your brother. Like he's looking at you like you're the mothership, but you're right next to him working.
Yeah,
bro, like come on, man. Like your sweat isn't better than mine. If anything, you should try to multiply. Like how do we help each other?
Let's look at our off market time and let's see how we spend it. Let's see how we do it. Let's see what we're doing ourselves. Let's see, the things that we're doing to predict our future, versus dictate our future. Right. So, and outside of that, what I found was like over the years with employment is, people like my brother, people who work with me for a long time, it's always like, oh, another year, I want more money, versus like bringing in a new person where they have no skill. You teach them. They're willing to try and do everything possible to be their absolute best and go down any road. I got a girl right now working with me as my assistant. She's like, this is kind of new to me, but I'm up for the challenge. Like, I'll do it. That's what I want.
All right.
I want the person who's going to just jump in the trenches, figure it out. Let's go. And when I brought her into my old company, she had no idea what was going on. I said, listen, you got 30 days to figure it out. Boom, 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 figure it out. She figured it out. And when you put people in a position to win and they have the attitude like, all right, this is not overwhelming, I just got to figure it out. It's like, remember your first kid?
Mm-hmm.
You didn't know what the fuck to do when you got home from the hospital, but you figured it out.
Yeah.
And the same thing happens in business, but you can't treat it like a baby forever. You know, people treat things like babies and want to be treated like babies forever. Like, dude, I'm not coddling you after 26 years.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's time for you to put your big boy pants on and figure it out. You know, everything that happens to us is a direct reflection of, you know, what we've done to get to this point. You know, we are where we are because of who we are. And a lot of people can't swallow that pill.
That's hard. Looking in the mirror, going back to where I said, looking in the mirror, like you got to look and really look, not just be, oh, you know, no. What are you made of, right? What's your substance? What do you bring? And then if it's not a lot, then how can you, like, I told some of my friends that are single, they'll be like, yo, I want a good girl. Well, I said, what are you? You know, like, you're not doing much. Why would you get like a woman that has her shit together when you're still on the couch? Like, why would you expect that? Like, this ain't a movie. Like, and oh, you're a dick. I'm like, no, I'm your friend. I'm being straight. Like, why would you? Oh, you and your wife. I've been married 23 years. You and your wife. I was like, look, marriage is work. We grew together. She had me when I didn't have money for gas to get to work. She would pump my gas for me because she had a job. But that's what it's built on. That I was like, why would you expect that? You bring nothing. This ain't Pretty Woman.
I would have said, yo, bro, 1 + 0 don't equal 2. You know what I mean?
There you go. That's a very simple way of saying that. Yeah.
And I think that I explain it a lot to people because it's very odd how 90% of people I coach or I deal with all have the same two things they walk around with: excuses and blame. They want to blame today on yesterday. Yesterday was over last night. Nothing we could do it out. What do we learn from it? Yeah. And by blaming, like, all you're doing is taking yourself out of accountability, number one. Number two, you want to make excuses like, oh, my ex did this, my ex did this. So the guy I was talking to yesterday, he's like, listen, bro, I was with this girl for 8 years. She broke up with me. Like, we weren't whatever. I still love her. It's all good, but I got to fucking do what I got to do. I'm like, that's the guy I want to work with. Yeah, because absolutely. He knows he's accountable. You know what I mean? He understands, like, there's nothing you can do to change it. Where that next guy's going to sit on the couch for 6 months and sob, why did she leave me? I don't understand. I did so much for her. Right. There's a lesson in everything. Once you get rid of those two bags of blame and excuses, bro, you literally can run.
And that's what you run into a lot with coaching clients.
Most everyone.
Really?
They aren't where they could be because they blame an employee, because they make excuses about time because of this and that. And I really get to the root hole of it. And I tell people, like, you know, and I get them to start thinking like, you are the problem. Like, you can't go to 5 million doing all the same things you were doing to get to 1 million. Like, everything in that identity has to change.
You gotta evolve. Yeah,
you know, you have to grow, and you will never. So I always tell people, like, God's got a little game out there. Like, how bad do you want it? And if you don't grow to that place, you'll never deserve. So you can't be blessed if you're not blessable. So you'll just stay stagnant. And this is my life, and this is my life. And you'll look at everybody else and be like, they're so lucky, blah, blah, blah. We're all lucky, right? I'm lucky.
Yo, we woke up today. We're fucking lucky.
3 years ago, today's the 7th. So tomorrow, 3 years from tomorrow, I had a heart attack. I'm lucky because of stress, right? Because all the shit I got to go through, all the business stuff I got to go through, worrying about feeding other families, paying other people, collecting money.
It's a heavy weight.
Most
people don't. Most people don't fucking understand that. Like, you know, like when you're serious about it, right? Like, yo, I want to make sure, like, people depend on me. I don't want to disappoint anybody, right? But going back to that survivor's remorse that I struggle with sometimes, I'm like, yo, if the guy ain't showing up for work, that ain't your fault. Oh. Like, I've had people tell me, and stop. It's like, the guy ain't doing what he's supposed to do. The clients are calling you, not him. He hasn't developed the relationship, you know, going to sales. Like,
not your problem.
What you doing?
Yeah.
Like, he's like, yeah, save the deal, but get Jimmy Iovine says it. He's like, when the shit gets bigger than the cat, get rid of the cat. Yo, man, he's like, it's not worth it. It's not, if the shit is bigger than the cat, just get rid of that motherfucker. You know, so I'm starting to subscribe to that thinking more and more. I try not to go quickly to it, but going back to guilt, right? Like, I feel, oh man, I always thought, or I think, everybody wants to be the best version of themselves. The truth of it is not. It's they did like to point at somebody else doing it and maybe throw shots at it because then it makes them feel better about why they didn't do it.
No, they'd rather just play the lottery and hope they win.
Right.
You know, life is a fucking lottery, bro. Like, we gamble every day with what we're doing.
Right.
And if you're not showing up to win, you're not going to win. If you just think that one day someone's going to save you and life's just going to, like, you know, say, okay, it's time to go. Let's go. You know, it doesn't work like that way.
It all worked out for you.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, you just got to bet. It all worked out. You're fine. No, that's
Like
not
I just told someone, yeah, I'm going away to Aruba for 10 days. I told someone, they're like, oh man, it must be nice.
Oh, I was going to say that.
It must be fucking nice.
It must be nice.
The whole time I'm there, I got to worry about all my companies. I got to take calls. I got to do this. I got to do that. Like, we don't get time off. We're not an employee where we can say, all right, computer's off, responder, I'll be back in 15 days.
Yeah.
All this shit.
Really good. All right, really good example. This is for all the podcasters and business owners out there. I have 2 podcasts today. You have 3. We're not competing. I'm just telling people what we're doing. I have a few other things that'll be not in front of my
work computer. I won.
Of course, in front of my desk. You know, what does that mean? That means I wake up at 7 in the morning to delegate the work for the day. It doesn't mean, oh, it's 10 o'clock. Oh, hold on, Dan, let me get on my computer. No, you got to be accountable. All right, so if I'm not going to be at the desk, I'm not going to be driving the car. So at 7 o'clock, I'm putting everything in motion so that by 4 or 5 o'clock, when I get back to it, something's done, right? But at least everybody has direction.
Yep.
And that is the weight of the CEO, right? It just, if you're not there to drive, you got to put your team in positions to drive, right? Mm-hmm. I think you told me this. They're not going to be me. They're going to be them. And whatever that is, you got to take it. If you're being really practical about their limitations, you know what's going to be, right? And that's it. And you come back to it and you get back to it. Like, I think you told me that. You're like, oh, if I had another me, I'm good at certain things, but I know other people are good at others, right?
Yeah, so we say that often as entrepreneurs or business owners, like, only if I could duplicate me. I go, that's the most selfish thing you could ever say.
Right.
At the end of the day, you are you. And there's people out there that are way more qualified than us. Mm-hmm. And our job, so you talk about doing the CEO things, the problem is most people are glorified employers wearing all these different hats than actually being the CEO and allowing people to run their business for them while they look at all the outside and put the right people in place. And that's one thing I do in business. Is like, I put the right people in place. I make sure that business owner stops working 16, 17 hours a day. How do we get you to work 4 hours a day, 5 hours a day, be able to do other things, have other things going on, multiple distribution centers of income? Because why are you sending emails? Why are you answering the phone? Why are you doing this? You're literally taking like the McDonald's French fry flipper, and the manager don't do the same role.
Correct.
Right? But you want to be the manager, the flipper, the bagger, the drive-through person. You want to do all this stuff. And at the end of the day, like, you're limiting yourself, stressing yourself out because you're being pulled.
In so many ways.
Imagine, hey, I got someone who's great at this, someone who's great at this, someone who's great at this. Okay, I don't have to do those 3 things. I pay dividends. Oh, well, it's going to cost me money. Of course it is. But you're going to buy your most valuable time back, which is your asset that you're looking to build, which is your time. So if you could buy time back at pennies on the dollar, because you should be worth more than the people you hire.
Right.
Think about all the other things you can leverage.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I teach people how to work 20, 30 hours a week, not 20, 30 hours a day.
And in the beginning, what are most people apprehensive to it? Because they have OCD and they have control issues?
So you have to be at a breaking point where you're sick and tired of being sick and tired and you just feel stuck.
Okay.
Number one. Number two, you got to be at a point where you're like, nobody's listening to me. I wouldn't listen to you anyway. You're a fucking drug addict. Like, you're on crack. You're doing this. You're doing this. You're yelling at people when it's your fault.
Okay.
Like when you try to build something big, every empire ever built was done with a team. Nobody's ever done it alone. But you're trying to do it alone, bring in the lowest paying officer at every single position and wondering why you're not getting paid those dividends. But if you really look at it, let's say you had 10 people staffed. I guarantee I can help you get 5 people that'll do the work of 15. If you pay 5 people what you would pay 10 people, you'd get the work of 15.
You get the high quality.
But you're trying to have
the 300 concept.
All these little people doing things.
Yeah.
All you have is an office meeting every day about talking about nothing but business that you're trying to produce, talking about everything else. Yeah. They know what they're doing tonight. They know what they're doing this, they're doing that. And this whole working from home bullshit, that doesn't work for me. Anyone I work with, like if you have staff working from home, get them in an office.
Yeah, one thing I've started doing is getting feedback, right? And because there's different departments. There's origination, which is sales. There's operations, there's processing, there's underwriting. And I started talking to them separately. And I had my own deductions, but I was like, hey, this is what I'm thinking. I'm talking to operations around. This is what I'm thinking. I see a lot of fall off. I see a lot of this, a lot of that. Think about restructuring this. What do you think about that? And they'll be like, they'll hit me with the, I've had a conversation with like, yo, this is a quote. They're not built like you. They don't care. That's why you have so much fall off. Meaning, the sales team is throwing shit in there for busy work. Now, operations get paid commission plus hourly, so their time is kind of valuable. Sales, obviously, it's $10.99, but they get a chunk of the fish, right? So, but what happens here is that if you're working on dead wood, to use that as a sales concept, right? Wood is basically deals that are not going to close. I'm talking to the camera now. It fucks with their morale as well.
Yeah.
Right? Nobody wants to work on shit. Right? Like, and then I started seeing, going back to entitlement, the sales team, which were younger, kind of talking to the operations team kind of like in a diminishing manner. But I'm like, yo, bro, like, and I had to have this conversation with everybody. I was like, you're not shit. Let's whip out numbers. So I started doing numbers monthly.
Yeah.
That was it. Everybody quit or just like they disappeared because I was like, yo, numbers don't lie.
Yeah.
All right, so here you are at the bottom again, but you don't have enough time to help operations with, like, I started really making it transparent.
Yeah.
Because everybody's hiding. Everybody's posturing and I'm this, I'm that, I'm an influencer. I was like, yo, man, you can be whatever you want, but at this company, if you're a loan officer and you're not making any money, you're not a loan officer. I don't know what the fuck you are. You're a guy who
just shows up.
Yeah, you're the guy who just shows up for the free coffee and Wi-Fi.
And at least
Starbucks
on your mom's couch. Yeah.
Or you live with your parents. And not a shot at that if that's what you're doing, but there's no way you can feed your family when you have a family on your work ethic. Like I've have friends that have larger companies as well, and out of 80, 90 guys, 10% of them can feed their families.
Producing.
I'm like, what? I was like, then what are we doing? Like, how do we get rid of that? But nobody's really kind of figured that out 100% yet, right? Everybody's kind of like, they feel like they have to have some fat for optics. I have a big company. I have 90 heads. All right, what's your production? What is this, right? Like, these numbers don't add up.
This is why everyone's going to VAs. Everything's going overseas.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, listen, everyone that works for me is a VA.
Okay.
Everyone's overseas except for one person.
Really? Okay.
My assistant's here, and then everything else done, my operations side, my editing side, my social media, like whoever's managing whatever is all VA.
Okay.
And I'm paying them well, which is literally like probably a quarter of what I would pay somebody here, but it's wealthy to them.
Right.
They're hungry, they want it, and they're going to do it. So at the end of the day, like, I would much rather, like, if the dividend, most people are like, oh, well, I got a VA, I'm paying them $6 an hour. Well, I'm going to pay mine 10, let's say.
Right.
Because if I pay mine 10, number one, he or she's going to appreciate me more. Number two, they're going to drive harder. Number three, I'm going to refer other business to them or their family. Because why wouldn't I want to feed the people who want to eat? Oh, well, you're taking jobs away from people here in the United States. Well, the problem is nobody wants to fucking work here. You know what I mean? What am I supposed to do? Bankrupt my brand for people who don't want to work?
Don't want to work. Yeah, yeah. I remember I had a conversation with an attorney, this is like 10 years ago. So as a loan officer then, you're the guy you're the quarterback. So you tell clients what you're paying. So at that point, everybody had the thing where they wanted the cheapest legal fee, $9.99 or $8.50, what some stupid shit.
Mm-hmm.
I never did that. I said, your fee's gonna be $1,500. Why? Because when you see my my packages or my emails, you'll drop everything almost here because he's paying double.
Yeah.
So I remember one time having a conversation with him. I was like, yo, Kev, did you get my email? He goes, yeah, I got your email. He's like, yo, I see your email. I skip everybody else, bro. But that was always the concept. Yeah. Like, I want people to make money. I don't want you to work for nothing and be like, oh, I'm struggle fucking through everything. Like, yo, I want you to make money. We close. We should all make money. We should all feel happy about working together. Oh, we have to do we have to go to a closing at a house, or we got to do something a little extra. Yo, there's enough margin, right? There's enough margin. It's when you're dealing with such thin margins. And yo, listen, my business, I want to start no fucking shit, but the loan officers that want to dictate attorneys what they can charge, they want their kickback, they want this. I don't want any of that. Yo, man, this is what you're getting. I don't want to wait. You see,
if everybody's operating fairly, the transaction goes smoothly.
Correct.
Therefore, you're going to get referral-based business. because there was no headaches, there was no delays. We're waiting for the lawyer, we're waiting for this one, we're waiting for that one. Everyone's doing what they got to do, and you can increase your volume. That's what people don't understand. Like, you pay more to get more. Like, that's why you pay someone who's super qualified to do something more money than you pay two people who are kind of qualified.
Because you'll
get 3x the result.
Right. Because you be in that track. Oh, you guys, you do this, you do that. Like, come on, I don't want to micromanage. I want to know it's done. That's your department. Handle that shit.
If I have to look over what you're doing, why am I hiring you?
Correct.
You know,
Correct.
if I have to double check everything, if I have to say, why isn't this being done? Like,
listen, man, it creates an unnecessary stress on top of the regular stress, right? Like, you have to micromanage other people because they're not qualified. All of a sudden you start questioning everything. Like, what the fuck am I doing here? Because, you get a couple of bad deals in a row. All of a sudden everything blows up and you're like questioning the whole fabric of, your whole business model.
Exactly. there's like this baby stage of entrepreneurship. And in the beginning, when everyone starts their business, they want to have all these employees and they want to micromanage, and they start feeling like a certain way. So it's like you now own a glorified daycare center with adult children.
Ooh. I haven't heard that one before. All right.
So now until you want to let go of that daycare and let these people put their pants on themselves and feed themselves and stop spoon feeding them and stop putting them down for naps, you're never going to grow to the ability that you can grow. So you basically started a company so you could bring people in, so you could tell them what to do, so they can cry to you, so you can fix their mistakes. Like, fuck you want to do that for?
Yeah.
But that's where most people are stuck. They have a glorified daycare center with adult children, plus they own a collections agency because their people all suck. They can't collect money.
Right.
So now you have all these different hats that you got to wear on top of being the owner of the company. This is why people can't stay in business. This is why people can't grow in business.
Yeah, they end up imploding. Yeah. Most of your coaching clients, are they in construction field?
Any kind of service-based business.
Service-based?
Yeah. So I've got gym owner. I've got contractors. I've got people that like wrap cars.
Okay.
I got a guy who's owned multiple car washes. So it's all different.
Mm-hmm.
I've even like talked to a dentist. You know what I mean? I've worked with him for 6 months.
Okay.
So it's everything, because listen, every business is the same. If you have people and you don't implement processes and systems and you try to do everything that you did 10 years ago, now it doesn't work.
Right. Especially if you're trying to scale, right? Like you said, what works for you by yourself is not going to work for a group of 10.
Right.
Right. And then, well, here's the challenge that I see with that is that then you have to meet people kind of where they are and understand that some people are going to be good at certain things, not others. And you can't expect them to be at your standard because, like just using myself as an example, right? I'm 20 years in the game, right? Can't expect somebody to know what I know. Like, I can look at something, I know that's his job. That's it. I could break it down. My wife works with me now. She's a real estate agent, and she's a year into it now. And she's like, all right, what's this mean? I'll tell you this. We had a deal. It was a little, I'll say it. It was a little hairy, right, at the end. But I said, this is what happened. That guy didn't do his job. This is like not that we're going out there to say, hey, you didn't do your job, but just so she understands.
Helps her understand.
Yeah, he didn't do his job. He's supposed to do this. It went this way. He was supposed to disperse this. He didn't, and that's where we're at.
20 years in the game, you could predict what's going to happen.
Absolutely. I've seen so many of these fucking transitions.
Based on the function from the beginning, you know what the end result's going to be.
Yes.
So a lot of times people look at us, being in business for over 20 years, they go, man, like, it costs a lot of money, or I can get it done cheaper, or I can have someone else do it cheaper. You can. Mm-hmm. But that's when you're going to deal with the bullshit, right? Mm-hmm. You pay for us because of our experience. We can do things faster and more efficient because of our experience, and that's what you're paying for. That's the value. And that's what most people don't understand. Like, how can a chef that's like well-known, getting paid all these big dollars, create plates so fast, come out so nice, cook so good, and he could do 7 to 10 at a time? When the new chef can only do 3, he's getting overwhelmed. The kitchen's backed up and all that kind of stuff. Why? It's experience.
Yeah, it's the repetition. Listen, the learning curve.
Yeah.
What you're paying for, I'm plugging your coaching right now. What you're paying for is simply to be able to get from point A to point B in a much less amount of time with confidence and coaching, right? Because the shit you can't figure out on your own, right? And going back to even like using a coach or a therapist, whatever, you can't see your own blind spots, bro. Mm-hmm. Like, you're really good at this, but you're not that good at that. I can't tell that. I think I'm great at everything, right? Then later on, you're like, maybe I'm not that good at that. Right?
I tell people you have a choice. You hire a coach, get there faster. Why? I've done it multiple times. I know I'm teaching you from experience, and I'm not going to allow you to make the mistakes I did. Number 2, read a book. You could read a book, but if you don't implement stuff in the book, plus you're only going to remember 10% anyway, and implementation means nothing. you know,
execution.
You have to
By
execute,
right.
but that book is not going to guide you the way that I'll guide you. Or
that's theory over application.
Yeah.
I want people to understand that. Like, it's like I use this concept. I don't mean to cut you off, but I want to really hit it. It's like swimming. You could teach me, one hand over the other, hold your breath. All right, push me in the water. Now it's a fucking thing, right? Like, oh shit, I'm gonna die, right? It becomes a whole thing. So I want people to understand that, because they're like, I read the book. It says, but it didn't say that the temperature. You know what I'm saying? The shit that you could tell them. Look, it's really moist today. Like, the cinder blocks aren't gonna fucking. They're not gonna dry the way they should, or whatever. Just using a little nuance of construction, things like that.
Look at some of the most successful people in the world. They didn't do it from a book. They didn't do it from a YouTube video. They had a coach. I talk about Michael Jordan all the time with Tim Grover. Like, Michael Jordan was at his best because he paid someone to help his performance. Then you got LeBron James, who doesn't pay nobody for his performance. And now you have an argument. Who's a better basketball player? Regardless, their stats are totally different. But who's a more humble one? Who's one who like walked away with respect, and who's one who's going to walk away with some disrespect? So there's two different ways to look at things. You want to do it all your own, take all the clout your own. Like, Michael Jordan was not a fame guy. He just wanted to be his absolute best, and he knew that it was going to take somebody else to help him get there. So the same thing happens in business. Like, you cannot do it on your own. You can't do it from a book. You can't do it from a YouTube video, as you can do with somebody pushing you, seeing what's going on, being your coach, just like you would in any sport. There's no athlete in the world who has ever done anything himself without a coach behind him. And then they go beyond a coach like Michael Jordan, where you get a coach on top of a coach. And he had Phil, and then he had his Tim Grover, and that was like the whole substance of how his life became what it became.
Yeah, well, Tim Grover was a coach to his personal excellence, right? It took him from, if he could have done 8.5 by himself, Tim got him to 9.5, right? He gave him that extra percentage. And Phil was just good at the whole team. But without MJ, there's no Phil. There's no talk about Phil. Like, because when he retired, they fell apart. Well, shit. You know what I'm saying? So yeah. So yeah, absolutely, I agree with that. All right. So where could people find you if they want to reach you for any coaching consults? Speak to the camera.
Yeah, so actually, guys, we're doing a business event in Jersey on November 6th. All the details is on my Instagram, Big Dan Official. Check me out on Instagram, dansachkowsky.com. I got a free coaching platform on there, 7-day video series that you can take a look at, help you get back into gear if you may be stuck right now. But everything that I'm doing, you can take a look and find me on Instagram, and it'll send you to all my other links. That's the biggest platform where I spend all my time. You'll be talking to me personally, anything you need. So Big Dan Official on Instagram.
And I'll be at his event. I don't even know what the event is, but I said I'm going to support him. Ask Luis Omar everywhere. Another great episode, another great guest. I thank you for your time, Dan.
Thank you.
Man. We out.